guys, Carolina here. So this is my first video about pregnancy number 2 in order to conceive Sebastian. My husband and I went through IVF, and I decided to vlog because when we found out that we needed to go through IVF with Sebastian, I had a really tough time finding information. And as a YouTuber, I'm looking for information on YouTube. I loved to watch the few women that were actually sharing their journey through IVF. So a really quick explanation how IVF works, at least how it worked for us. So generally the woman is the one that is taking all the hormones and all the shots and all the fun stuff, and that happens whenever you want to start the treatment. So after this first amount of shots and like this first phase, you go to a procedure and they put you under. They call the retrieval day. So that day they go in my uterus and get all the eggs that I had that month out of my body. And what those hormones and all the medication that they give me is, so instead of ovulating 1 egg that month, usually that's, you know, what women ovulate, maybe 2 or 3 if you're going on having multiples, if it is in your genetics. But if like usually it's like 1 egg, and instead of 1 egg after all those shots, I have the information here, so they retrieved 24 eggs out of my uterus. So they explained to me that my uterus literally looked like a bunch of grapes. So they get all the eggs out of my body and then they match with the sperm. Again, in our case was my husband's sperm. So they get the healthy ones and get my eggs and put them together, hoping for the best. So they watch them grow, and then they usually do a scan like after 3 days. They go check them, and then after 5 days to see how they're growing. And then if you choose, and we did, they do a DNA testing. So if there's any major like anomalies that probably my body would not, you know, continue a healthy pregnancy, would expel on its own. If you choose to do the DNA testing, you can discard those embryos as well, and that's what we did. So from the 24 retrieved eggs that, you know, they did the in vitro, 19 actually fertilized. So from 24, 19 fertilized, and after the 3-day, 5-day and DNA testing, 12 were good to go, and so the 12 were frozen. When I did the first time that, you know, they got one of those good frozen embryos and put in back in me, they call transfer. When they transfer back to me, it didn't take, so my body, I barely got pregnant. I think in 2 weeks after the transfer we found out that it hadn't taken. So Sebastian was the second one, which means I have 10 frozen, and now we're gonna put in another one. So the thing is that this time around, because I already have frozen embryos, I don't need to go through all the harvest of the eggs. So I literally like just pick a month to do the transfer, and I start what they call a cycle, and that's what I'm doing right now. So we chose to do this cycle. It would be the month of September, because now that we can pick, might as well choose when we want to have a baby. And we always like the idea of have a summer baby. So if everything goes well, God willing, this baby will be born in June, July next year, which will be a really interesting summer, but it's just for 1 year, so we're good with that. And the cycle starts right after, like whenever I have my period. So gonna be a little bit of TMI, but I just want to make sure that, you know, this is a vlog and I just want to tell you as much information as I can. So my day 1, which means when I got my first day of my period, was August 30th, which is also my birthday. So that was my birthday gift from God. So that was the start of my cycle. So when I get a little emotional here, this baby, again, like Sebastian, is a dream come true, and I can say the same for this one, because we did the DNA testing. We know the gender of the baby. This time around we're actually choosing to have a girl, and I always wanted to have a girl. Love Sebastian, has nothing to do with Sebastian, but so I can really wait for that. And for the past month, like through the whole month of August, I feel like somehow I have been nesting, which is usually something that you do when you're pregnant. But because I know I'm getting pregnant, I don't know, it's just crazy. So like we did a pretty good cleanup. We had like a yard sale. I got my house repainted because we've been living here for 6 years, so it was kind of around time. It was a good time actually to get things freshened up. So I've been like going through everything and separating the baby things that I got, you know, that I put on the side from Sebastian for the next one. Getting rid of things that now, you know, after even having Sebastian, like I know we don't need or we don't want anymore. Start looking for like nursery stuff again, even if I'm not pregnant yet. But it's been like very emotional for me in a good way, but also nerve-wracking, because even like if we're not doing this like in a natural way, we're getting doctors and all of that involved more than people usually would do. It's still like not messes up, but like really get to your hormones. Like if you're a woman and you've been trying to conceive and you cannot, or even if you can and you're like now pregnant, it's just crazy. Like, okay, so we're bringing this another life into the world, into our home and our lifestyle, and I'm just trying to be the best as I can and get everything ready. Because I don't know, like with Sebastian, I had the most amazing pregnancy and I was working out until the end. I was stitching until up to 8 months pregnant. So that was pretty cool. And on that note, going back to this month's scheduling, so my first day, like I mentioned before, when I got my period was the 30th. 3 days later, which was a Saturday, last Saturday, I had an ultrasound and blood work to see if everything looks good with the ultrasound and if everything is good with the blood work, and we got a thumbs up. So I already start taking, what is this, estradiol, which is one of the medications. I also got in the mail my pack of stuff that I'll be taking, and I'll be making a video just to go through this. But there's endometrium. These are my needles for the shots, because they still wanted me to take shots prior to the transfer and after, just to help with the lining of the uterus. Like a disposal for the sharps. There's tons of like vaginal inserts and pills and stuff. All the information on medication. So all this I will need to be taking for this month and the next and after, so for the weeks. But for now, just this guy. And also on my end, because I I really try to do this like and do my part. So on my end, I want to start like getting much better with my diet, which I should have done before, but I didn't. So, and I want to get sessions with my chiropractor again. I did that through Sebastian's pregnancy and it was amazing. I truly believe that that's what made me go through the whole thing feeling so well. And I had a lot of questions from people asking what I was eating and what I was doing and why I was teaching, how I was feeling. So this time around I actually got in touch with Integrative Wellness Group, which is the group of doctors that I see and I saw and I see, you know, when I need help. They have so much knowledge, but they are not your traditional doctor. So I literally sat down with them and asked if I could record everything and like get, you know, pick their brains and bring here to you guys, so you can get really good information, because that's another thing too. Like when I was going through my pregnancy, not even IVF, but when I was pregnant, there's so much information online, and unfortunately there's so much wrong information, and I need to know like what I should be eating, what supplements I should be taking, and all of that, and it was very confusing and very overwhelming. So they are going to be helping me. I just want you to see what I did today. Here we are at the Integrative Wellness Group. Like I mentioned prior to this shoot right here, I'm with Dr. Nicole and Dr. Kyle. I just want to give them a chance to introduce themselves, and then we're going to talk about what are the next steps for prepping for baby number 2.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Nicole. I'm one of the co-owners of Integrative Wellness Group, and really excited to be part of this journey here with Carolina. But I primarily work with all different types of cases. I classify myself as a person who uncovers mystery symptoms. Sometimes that symptom is not getting pregnant, and we really work with people to do really elaborate types of tests in order to figure out like what is the root cause. And we're going to be doing a video later on more so in just some of the avenues that are playing a role in infertility, and how, you know, so many women feel such an emotional tie to that and feeling almost shamed by it, but being able to provide answers and solutions, which is one of the pieces I'm really excited about working together.
And I'm Dr. Kyle, pregnancy specialist here, and have begun a pregnancy consulting program to include not only chiropractic, craniosacral therapy, foundation training, nutrition, but as well as one-on-one consults throughout the pregnancy to allow families to understand more, not only what's happening throughout, but what is happening in some of their other appointments where they may not be getting as much time with other providers or answers, to let them have the best pregnancy and birth experience that they truly can have. So I'm super excited to be working with Carolina again.
So I worked with them on my first pregnancy, and a lot of people asked me what I was doing, what I was eating, and what supplements I was taking. So these guys actually were my backup. I did not showcase them before, but because I got so many questions this time around, I just want to give you as much information as possible. And that being said, we're gonna start first. I think we're gonna do a screening, right? What we're gonna.
Yeah, so I'm gonna explain it as I go for those of you, because this is brand new to her as well, so you really get to see the raw, authentic experience.
My first time doing this thing right here, right now.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned to me is that you wanted to just check where her body is at. You just want to make sure everything's all good, and we are ready to roll for baby number 2.
Because before I had Sebastian, I ate so well, and it was so much easier. But now with a toddler running around, I definitely need help of the experts. It just became very challenging. So I just need to tell them, just tell me what to do.
So we will have you covered on all of that, but we're going to be doing a bioresonance scan. I am going to explain it as I go. I'm going to get her set up with the scan, and then I'll start explaining because it's going to scan me for a few minutes, okay? So all you have to do is you're going to throw these fancy headphones on, and I promise I will tell you how this all works. The cord has to go on the left ear. So for those of you watching, you might be like, what the heck is she doing? And she also might be thinking the same thing. So this is actually a Russian technology. It was created on the premise of physics. So it does not use chemistry. Most of our testing in medicine is all chemistry based, aka blood work, urine analysis, etc., genetic testing. So with this is actually having the ability to scan the body for different types of frequencies that are being given off by the tissues. So the really, really dumbed down version of this is that every single tissue in your entire body gives off a very specific frequency, which is like an identifier code. The identifier code pretty much tells us if the tissue is healthy or not. So if your tissue is giving off a different identifier code, it goes into the machine and we are able to know if there is something going on in that tissue. So we can figure out, is there anything going on in the tissue? Is there an infection? Is there an allergen? Is there a toxicity? Even if there is an emotional piece. So I will not disclose everything, I promise. But this is just really so huge because we can tailor supplements. We can tailor just even a small cleanse to get your body ready for what we're working with in the next month. So there's a lot of things that we can do with this. This also does treatment as well. So this can also help to make sure hormones are in check before you get ready for your transfer. Awesome. So as this goes through, it's going to give me a lot of really good information, and then we're going to go through it. And I will explain in depth. Everything looks good so far, though.
Okay.
So there is a bacteria that's showing up that's affecting your uterus right now. It's very mild, but it is something that we can work on to get rid of before we obviously get ready, because we want that environment to be as perfect as possible.
What is the name of that? The bacteria or whatever? Is that the same thing that you just asked me if I got tested?
So MTHFR is a genetic mutation, and the reason I was asking is because when you have the mutation, you will tend to be very folate deficient. And when you're folate deficient, you have inflammation in your cervix. So I'm seeing that your cervix is a little bit inflamed, and it's usually just a folate deficiency. We don't necessarily have to test for MTHFR, we can, but if we are taking folate, not folic acid, which is very, very important because many women, as they go on prenatals, they get put on folic acid, and especially if you have MTHFR, you cannot absorb it whatsoever. So when you look at most prenatals that are either being prescribed or even like pre-bottled prenatals, they will have folic acid and not the folate. The folate is very, very important for the development of the brain of the baby. So if we make sure we cover our bases through some supplementation, we will maintain any of the inflammation and completely get rid of it. And then the bacteria will kind of have some other strategies to work on that as well.
I started taking one of the medications for IVF. I don't know if that could have had anything to do with it or not.
Not necessarily.
No.
No. And folate is something that no matter what, you should be taking as you are planning on getting pregnant, because you need it for literally the development of the brain and the spinal cord of the baby. So.
And see, I'm not taking as I should, but I was taking on and off the prenatal that my doctor prescribed to me this time, and it's not covering everything.
Prescription?
Yeah.
Most of the prescription prenatals contain aluminum, so I'd be very careful with that.
Okay.
You also should really back off plastic.
Plastic?
Yeah, plastic water bottles.
Okay.
Things like that. Microwaving with plastic as well.
Okay.
So that is an irritant for your uterus.
Okay.
Plastic.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy, but
No, I don't microwave on plastic, but I do, and I have on my Amazon cart a water bottle, actually.
Food wise,
Okay.
good foods for you and your hormones, apricots and bananas.
Okay.
And do you have any digestive complaints?
No, I used to have really hard time with the bathroom, like ages ago, like still in Brazil, but I think it's because I had a lot of rice and potatoes and stuff like that, and after I kind of, not cut, but like I got rid of 90% of that.
Do you feel that gluten bothers you?
See, that I don't know, and I do feel more bloated a few days more than others. Should I try?
So some of the things that is coming up that would be irritating your uterus. So the thing you want to understand, and for the audience as well,
Make sure that they
the thing to understand for the audience as well is that you're dealing with the intestines, and the intestines, they have little junctions in order for nutrients to pass out of the intestines to get into the bloodstream, and that's how your body absorbs its nutrients. But if you have different types of bacteria in your gastrointestinal system or other types of organisms, which is very common, then they can give off toxins that get into the blood as well. And then that can irritate other tissues. So one of the things that was showing up, and this is probably going back to the cervix being a little bit inflamed, is it's tied to intestinal toxins. So what I'm saying about that is that there might be some bacteria in your intestines. That might be one piece. And the other piece is that two different types of food toxins came up. Gluten and then pork and beef toxins. So pretty much when you're eating those things, if your body is not breaking it down properly, it's giving off toxins that could create problems in other places.
Okay.
I know that you're wearing makeup today for our lovely audience, but do you wear makeup often?
This, yeah,
Yeah.
not that much.
Just take a look at some of your makeup and like personal products to see if there's manganese peroxide, and I'll write it down for you. But manganese peroxide is something that's coming up as a toxin, and that is very, very common in cosmetics.
Okay.
Yeah, especially like the big name brands.
Could have been like moisturizers, maybe?
Yes.
Because for my face, I do use something like Arbonne, which is like pretty clean usually.
Yeah, just check. It'll say it in the ingredient label.
Okay.
It might be in the other ingredients, not like the primary. So, but yeah, the thing showing up in the brain is injury based. So definitely ask your mom. Maybe something happened that
Left
you
side?
had.
Left side.
Yeah, like literally like right here. We'll just shave your head and see a big scar. How's your sleep?
Lately, actually, really bad.
So overall, it looks like we can do getting you ready, doing a little bit of work gastrointestinally, and doing a little bit of work with some supplements to get the folate up, and you should be good to go. So we're going to focus on that for the next few weeks.
Okay.
Okay? All right, I'll take my magical headphones back.
It is crazy. So isn't it crazy? So I left the office thinking of so much, like there's so much that I can do to improve my body, which is going to be the home of another child, and I really want to do, the best that is on my reach, and I'm so glad that I have these guys to back me up on this phase, this new chapter of my life. On that note, I'm gonna now start to look more into gluten-free diet and how that works. I usually don't eat red meat, but I feel like this is it. I'm definitely gonna stay away from it from now on, and take whatever supplements they recommend for me, just in order to balance everything out, and again, like, just try to have a really good start of a second pregnancy. So I know this was a very, very long video. Thanks for sticking around. If you watched the whole thing, you might need to sit down to watch this a few times. But so this is my first vlog. Vlogs can be nerve-wracking, guys. And I'm gonna try to do this every 2 weeks to kind of show you how it is to go through IVF and all the craziness that is behind it, and like, and not only IVF, again, like how I've been preparing and now how I'm gonna be preparing myself to have this baby, the second baby, and hopefully it's not gonna be as overwhelming for you if you're getting all this information. So make sure to subscribe if you know somebody that is going through all of this. Let them know about these videos. And one thing too, if you want to get notified every time that I post a video, which is like once or twice a week max, by the subscribe button there's a little bell. Just make sure to click on that so you can get the notifications. Okay. Thanks for watching this. If you have any questions about what I've been going through, post on the comments below. I'm definitely gonna try to answer to them, and I'll see you guys around. Bye.